How do you know in your life what is right from what is wrong? How do you know that the things that you have defined in your life as right and those that you judge others as being wrong, where did we get those positions from? I would like to ask you a question this morning. How do you know that what you call red is really better described as yellow? If I show you this flower this morning, and those listening on radio, I'm showing, what is this flower called? Ixora. What would you say is the color of this flower? It is? Some say pink, some say red. But what if I were to say to you, this flower really, what this color that you're looking at is really, that should be yellow. And you would say, Babs, don't talk nonsense this early morning. It is too early in the morning to confuse our brain. This is red, man. Truly. The concept, the labels, the definitions that we have ascribed to things, to experience, to circumstances in our life, those judgments that we've been so conditioned to place on something or on someone or an event in our life, we have been taught how to associate. So we were taught as a child that when you see light reflecting on an object that gives this impression in the back of our eyes, we say, well, this particular something, it is called red. Versus this sign on the wall, you would say, Babs, clearly that is yellow. Because we have been taught to associate a label with an object. When you look at the history of law, what makes law? Do you know that we have the authority here at the Railway Dharam Sabha? We have how many people here? How many ever? Do you know that we have the authority here this morning to write a law for this temple? How do laws come about? Who makes laws? Man makes laws. And all the laws that exist today, it is as a result of a group of people coming together. It's society that defines what is right and wrong. It is society that determines what codes of conduct, what guidelines are established as acceptable for orderliness. Tonight is Carnival, what? Monday into Tuesday. Can you imagine opening the newspaper later this morning and counting over the weekend how many deaths there were on the roads based on drunk driving, based on speeding, based on recklessness on the nation's roadway? So when you think about speed limit and the laws of traffic codes, we can automatically think those make sense. Without those laws, without orderliness on the nation's highways, we can understand the chaos that can happen and do occur at this time. But do you know that all the laws that exist today, there's a history. There's the Babylonian law, there's the Egyptian law, the law of Mesopotamia, and if you go back even further, all laws, I would like to emphasize this, all laws came from a scripture that is called the Apastamba Dharma Shastra. And the Apastamba Dharma Shastra really is a descendant of Manu Smriti. And Manu Smriti was the lawmaker for mankind. If you read Tulsidas' Ramayana, in the very first chopais in Balkan, Tulsidas described Manu and his wife Shatrupa. But Manu was not a Hindu personality. Manu was someone who wrote and defined the laws for mankind. Today, even in the Westminster system, the English system, their laws and our laws have been based on Manu Smriti. So, what makes laws? People like you and I come together, we call society, and we decide what is acceptable. Does 50 miles per hour sound okay? Maybe. And we define based on, of course, engineering standards and all these other things, what are the acceptable guidelines. But I'd like to ask you this question this morning. If society is defined as a critical mass, what if I would tell you this morning that what is acceptable? Well, let me ask the question instead. How do you feel about one woman having multiple husbands at the same time? Now, this is not a joke. This is serious thing, 3 o'clock in the morning. It is not funny. I also laughed when I heard it. Do you know that there's a tribe in Africa that unless the woman engages in a relationship with all the husband's brothers, she is not accepted as a proper wife within that tribe? Today, for those of you who have cable TV, we all know of the show called Taboo. Amit? We all have seen the show on cable TV called Taboo. And it talks about what is unusual, what is outside of the norm by Western standards. And things like worshipping the Kali Devi in the manner which life is taken. Some of the Spanish cultures where spirits are invoked. The example of the African tribe, they are given, and all these circumstances in the Western world are defined as taboo. They're outside of our norm. But do you know, if you were to ask that African tribe, ask somebody in that tribe, how do you feel about one man having one wife and one wife having one husband? They would say, that sounds taboo. That sounds odd for them. So the point I'm making is, society defines what is right and wrong. And according to Sanatana Dharma, we are encouraged to live according to the laws of the land. And based on living in Trinidad and Tobago, we may have certain freedoms that we don't in the United States, as opposed to the United Kingdom versus Australia, versus China, versus Africa, versus India. The point I'm making is, you and I have been taught, we have been conditioned based on our history, based on our upbringing, based on our teachings from our children and the practices of society to accept and define what is right and what is wrong. The Apastamba Dharma Shastra said it this way: if right and wrong used to walk around, I'm paraphrasing what it says, if right and wrong used to walk around, they would not come and announce their presence, hello, I am right, and hello, I am wrong. Dharma Shastra says, right and wrong do not go about announcing, here I am right, and I am wrong. Why is that? Because the legal people in our audience here this morning would tell you that right and wrong in law is based on precedent. Right and wrong is not based on action only. Right and wrong is based on context. So today, when you think of people in your life that you have judged, today when you think of circumstances in your life that you look back and you thought how inappropriate other people may have behaved, I want you to ask yourself this question: do you have the right, do I have the right to judge other people when they behave in a particular way, when they say things in a particular way? Do I have the right to be right? Or do I have the right sometimes to be wrong? You see, unless you can understand the intent, the motive behind whatever someone does, it is only then you can truly appreciate whether they're acting from a positive standpoint or a negative frame of reference.